It's time to center mental health in Omaha. At Community Alliance, we're building a new center at 72nd and Mercy Road so that anyone seeking help for their mental health can access the personalized care they need to flourish. Support our campaign at mentalhealthomaha.org.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello, folks. This is Who Did You Boycott Today? This is part 2 of the audio recording for titled Addressing Freeman's Lies, Half-Truths, False History Narratives. So here we go. Madness. It's complete madness. I'm going to get back to the recording real quick because it's just sad. It's just really sad that folks really, it's starting to feel like my room title before I closed it out. It feels kind of like being bullied by folks who think that they have it all figured out, that they the smartest thing on the block. That they have it all figured out and they the smartest thing on the block. It's kind of feeling like a bully. But I'll get back to the recording.
And that's because of this third point I'm going to make is a name is equal to an unpaid debt. The name calls out an unpaid debt that everybody knows is unpaid, no matter how...
Okay, I got to stop you right there. See, the unpaid debt that folks want to tether to, I don't even use the word tether, but I'm going to use it today. See, Freeman wants to tether to slavery, but they don't want to identify as a Negro. You see how that works? You see, they don't started picking up talking points from the Negro space. Yes, I'm saying it. They've been listening to recordings from the Negro space, and now they're trying to pick up some of those talking points and attach themselves to it. Because, see, Negro is the only word that carries power in America. Because it's the only word that's documented. Freeman was documented for 2 years. Anybody who need that link and can read it for themselves, the Congress initially, when they passed the Freedmen's Bureau Act, it was for 1 year, and they intended for it to be extended for 1 year. 2 years of history does not compare to 246 years of slavery. That's where the power lies. You trying to convince people that if you presenting your case to me, and you telling me that Negro slavery has a history of 246 years and your history was 2 years, which one I'm going to think carries the most weight and power? Common sense. The one that had 246 years of history, not the one that had 2 years of existence. See, that's a lie. That's a lie out your mouth, Actify Press. That's a lie. I'm going to call it like it is. Freemen don't carry that kind of power, and y'all know that. That's why y'all trying to leak yourself onto the history and the power of Negro, because you know you can't stand alone on just Freeman. You can't. See, you want your cake and your ice cream too. You want to be identified as free persons at the time of emancipation. You don't want to be lumped with those who were slaves and chains. You want society, and you want the 21st century persons who are listening to you to separate the two populations. Okay, so I picked up on that cue, Actify, just in case you didn't know. I picked up on that cue. You said that Freedmen's was the free persons who were not caught up in slavery. They maybe they never spent a day as a slave. They did everything in their power to avoid being put into slavery. So I think I understood you right. I hope I did. If I didn't, please correct me. But I think I understood you to explain it, that you are speaking for the freemen persons, the free persons who were separate from the persons who were enslaved. Oh, okay. Do we have two separate bloodlines? I think that's really where the problem lies. That a lot of these folks that came over here and that were not made slaves, they had a whole different ethnicity bloodline. And just maybe they have been able to keep good records that prove that they were never put in slavery. So they don't come from that bloodline of Negro slaves. Maybe that's why the conflation keeps happening. We keep trying to straddle the fence, and one minute we on this side of the fence, and the next minute we on the other side of the fence. One side of the fence is for the free persons who definitely understood that they were free from the time they got here, or they became free at some point, and they are separate from the ones who kept in slavery until emancipation happened. So that's two separations. That's one person on one side of the fence and another population on the other side of the fence. And so actify press. That's what you're conflating. Just in case nobody points it out to you, I'm gonna point it out to you. That's what you're conflating. Lie. Freemen don't have the power that Negro have. And y'all know this because you're intelligent enough to know it. But you're trying to tether yourself to the harm that was done for 246 years of slavery for those who went through that experience. You're trying to tether yourself to it. You're trying to attach yourself to it without being that specific person. See, you want your cake and your ice cream too. And you can't have it both ways. If you got documentation, like a DNA test that can prove that you are a freeman, is there some type of DNA test that you can take that can prove that you are a freeman? Because from my research, my layman's research, I went to Google and typed in the search box, and it explained to me on the United States Senate website what freeman meant, how it came about, how it got established. So you're going to have to try to explain to me why your understanding is different than what's on the United States Senate website. I need you to please make a room and explain why yours is different so much from what they have put on their website. I need you to be able to explain why your description is so different from the one that I read for myself on the website. I need for you to explain that. You know, if you don't mind, kindly could you explain that to me and the rest of the folks that you're lying to, that you're telling a half truth to, that you're telling a fake history? That would be kindly appreciated. Let me get my phone plugged in because I think my other phone is gonna die on me. Actify number 3. That was your number 3rd point, and your number 4 point is something about the boule class. How you try to throw a little snobby a mark to the Negro boule class. How do you know what ethnicity make up that boule class that you're referencing? Can you kindly explain that to everybody? How are you distinguishing what makeup of that boule class that you're referencing? Have you met each one of those persons? Have you met one, two, or three of them? Can you at least share that with us? Since you making that assumption that reference that the boule class are Negro boule class. They are the Negro boule class that want to hate on Freeman. You see how you do that little sly remark to put a negative image on Negro. See, you really frightened of that Negro power. You're really frightened of that Negro precedence in America. You're so frightened of it that you can't even bring yourself to say the word half of the time. That's how frightened, because you understand, whether you want to admit it to yourself or not, you know it carries more weight than Freeman. Each and every one of you know it, because it's documented. The Negro League, the Negro Baseball League, the Negro this and the Negro did this, the Negro have all these inventions, the Negro have all these patents. Correct me if you may. Where is the documentation that said Freeman had this invention? Freeman had this patent. Freeman did such and such. I hear folks say all the time that the our ancestors have 50,000 patents. Out of those 50,000 patents, how many of those were by Freemans? Do you have that breakdown? Do you have that breakdown? Or are you trying to tether yourself to that too? Are you trying to leech onto that too? See how that works? You want to take credit for what those persons accomplished, but you don't want to identify how they were being identified at that time. At the time that they had those inventions and patents, they were identified as Negroes. See, they were identified as Negroes. They weren't calling them Freemans. If you can produce a document where I can read it that clearly states that this person was a Freeman who had this invention, this patent, then I correct it. I stand corrected. Absolutely, I will stand corrected. But if you can't do that, don't tether yourself to those accomplishments. Don't leech yourself to those accomplishments ever again. Just remove those statements out of your mouth. See how that works? You see how that separation works, since you want separation so desperately, because no matter how you try to slice it and dice it, everybody who was here by 1865, 1866, most of them persons were identified as Negroes. Unless they have some paperwork that says that they were listed as a free person. So maybe they carried around some documents that said Freeman papers, but that wasn't an ethnicity. That was just a something written on a piece of paper so that somebody with dark skin could walk around and hopefully not be lynched or burned or hung. You see how you don't conflate things? You just state the facts. The persons who were walking around with those pieces of paper that stated that they were free persons, that was not their ethnicity at that time. That was not their status. It was a piece of paper so that they could walk around and hopefully not be hung, lynched, and burned. So stop lying to folks. Stop preaching half-truths. Stop trying to preach false history and narratives. Now I'm going to start the recording up again because I'm getting tired of talking for a little while. I'm just going to let folks I'm just going to let folks listen to some of these people speak, and then I'm going to come back on it and share my perspective of what I heard coming out of certain person's mouth. That's what I should do.
Conservative racist thinking, no matter how steeped you are in that bullshit, you recognize that there's an unpaid debt. That's what makes people so fucking mad, right? The name equals an unpaid debt. And
maybe I didn't clarify it good enough. The unpaid debt is to the Negroes, the Negro slaves. The unpaid debt is not for the free person.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Persons in the Native Americans. Let's get it right. Let's get it correctly. If you're going to take time to open a space, try at least to tell the truth. The unpaid debt that everybody is sitting up here crying about and telling and being all joyful about these task force is based on slavery. Is it not? Correct me if you may. Is the reparations claim in all these states is based on slavery? It's not based on freemen. See, so stop lying to people. Stop the lies. Stop the half-truths. To claim when America hears Negro, they know automatically that they got blood on their hands, that they made human beings slaves for 246 years. They didn't make freemen for 246 years. They didn't do that. And you know that. You are an intelligent person, and you know that. But you spoke that lie. Just like it just rolled off your tongue so easily. We all know this. The reparations justice claim is based on slavery. Negro slavery. Negro slavery. Negro slavery. Say that over and over to yourself until it sinks in. Because if you expect to get one dime from America, America know what they did. And they know plain as day that they were not calling Negroes freemen for 246 years. They were not making them enslaved. They know who they were making enslaved. They were making Negroes enslaved. They won't saying out their mouth, freeman, you're a slave today. Freeman, you are a slave today. Freeman, we're going to hang you today. Freeman, we are going to lynch you today. Freeman, we are going to burn you today. Freeman, we are going to kill you today or murder you today. No. So let's be honest. Let's be honest when we're trying to talk about things and opening spaces and telling people lies and half truths. Let's try to tell them the facts that they can go look up. Not things that individual persons formalize in their own head. No. State facts that they can go look up, so they don't have to believe what's coming out your mouth. They can go read it for themselves and come to their own conclusion. Let's just try doing it that way. I think a lot more of us get on the same page if we just start doing it that way and not speaking these lies and half-truths and false narratives, because they're only going to come back to bite you. Because there are going to be some persons out there who are going to do their research and know that they've been listening to a liar. Now your reputation is ruined. Your reputation is ruined because you chose to speak what you spoke out your mouth, thinking maybe that folks weren't going to go do their own research. Maybe that's what the devil told you. Maybe the devil told you that you could say anything out your mouth and no one is going to be able to do their own research and determine that you lied to them. Maybe that's why you thought you were smooth sailing. I don't know. But here's the recording.
It's clear. All right. That was my third point. All right. And my fourth point, Boule fears. Hold on a second. I got speaker request. Fancy schmancy. Come on up, Cindy. All right. So that was my third point. Name equals a debt. And the fourth point, this is the one that's going to be controversial. This is the one that's pissed a couple of people off thus far. But this is the Boule's greatest fear, right? The entire Boule and all their offshoots in the Divine Nine, sorry, folks, they are built to be our ruling class, right? They're built to be our buffer class. And because of the way Boule has functioned all these years, right? Many of you recall stories of the brown paper bag test. See how light you are, right? And many people view that as being closer to whiteness. But I believe, this is my belief, is that paper bag test equals a distance from slave blood, right? So if you don't have these quote unquote darkies in your mix, you are further. Oh, Steve, that's good. I'm glad he did this. That paper bag test equals shows you how distant you are from slave blood. That's what it was about. It wasn't about being close to whiteness. That was part of it. But I think it's more important to show that you didn't have any of these darkies in your family line, right? And they, and many of you may know that they've been allowing wealthy Caribbeans and Africans in their midst for a long time, right? So it's about, and they're not, of course, they're not connected to those very same things that they're trying to hide from with this paper bag test, right? So I wanted to cover those things and just lightly gloss over them. And if anybody has anything they want to say, please come up. For those that missed it, the things that I covered real quickly, number one was legislation. The term is all over Reconstruction era legislation, and it can't be erased. It's there, right? Secondarily, the Democrats have been hiding behind, we can't do nothing just for black folks for the longest time, right? They've been doing it forever, right? But now this is different. It's not just for black folks. It's a specific group of black people, right? It's a specific status of black people, right? And the third thing was the name equals a debt. It equals an unpaid debt. Can't get around that. And the third thing was Boule fear, meaning paper bag test, and their aversion to slavery.
Yes, Mr. Actify. The debt that's owed is owed to the Negro slavery bloodline, and for those who were here at the time of slavery. By the date of 1865. That's what the California Task Force put out there. Now, will that stand nationally? Who knows? But that's just what's been going through the grapevine. That if you were a slave in America, 1865, before the emancipation, and you were a free person, or you were a Native American, in the window of 1865 up to 1900, then you are more than likely eligible for reparations. If that's the criteria that's gonna stand the test of time. Is it going to stand the test of time? If that's what's going to stand the test of time, 35 years, if you can trace yourself, a family member, back to the census report, you have some type of documentation proving that you were here in that window of 35 years, more than likely, and you didn't have white skin, If you didn't have white skin, you more than likely are eligible for reparations. If you looked in the mirror and you did not have white skin, you more than likely are eligible for reparations. See how that works? Not like that lie out your mouth. The debt that's owed is owed to the Negro slavery, because that's how America was operating. That's how America generated its wealth, off of 246 years of slavery. That's the debt, not 246 years of folks walking around identifying as freemen. You see how that don't both merge together? That is two separate things. It's two separate things. So don't try to conflate it. Don't try to merge it together and try to claim that you're talking the truth, because it's a lie. It's a lie. And folks, it's really feeling like a bully. It's really getting those vibes of a bully. It's really getting those vibes of a tedder. It's really getting those vibes of a leeching on to a history and a harm without without identifying yourself as those persons who were identified as Negroes. You see how y'all using that page out of that page book? Yeah, and folks are really good at spewing tedder. I can't even hardly say the darn word because I'm not used to saying it. Y'all really good at calling other folks tedder and leeches. You see how things work? You see how things work when you sit out there and you give out all that negative karma? You end up becoming that exact same thing that you heard in that other folks. You take on that same image. You take on that same description unconsciously. So I would do some soul searching. I would look in the mirror and do some soul searching and decide and ask the hard question: am I being a tedder? Am I being a leech onto Negro slavery without wanting to be identified as a Negro? I would ask myself that hard question, because the truth will prevail. It may not happen next week. It may not happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now. But if the world stands in existence, somebody's going to write about the truth. They're going to take upon themselves to do that. They're going to parcel through all these lies and half-truths and fake narratives, and they're going to write about the truth because they have a conscience of being an honest person. So after 5 press, if I was you, I would sit down and have a heart-to-heart talk with myself and ask myself, why am I out here preaching these lies out my mouth? Because it's damaging your reputation as being an untruthful person. You're building a reputation of being a dishonest person. Here's the recording again.
And that aversion of slave blood let's be clear about that, because the 1865 freedmen are a very specific group of people, all right? So if you were a free person of color,
there's that specific group I told y'all about earlier. They trying to leech onto it. They won't saying that months ago. That never came out their mouth. Pacific group. Freeman was a Pacific group. But all of a sudden, since Justice Thomas said that in his thing, and I had that conversation with Denise, all of a sudden it's materializing out of folks' mouth all of a sudden. Why is that all of a sudden? Because I definitely had that conversation with Miss Denise, and I pointed that out to her. I pointed it out in a couple other rooms that I had been in. I said, my little layman brain says that when I hear folks say that Justice Thomas said that a claim could be brought against America for a Pacific group, he could only be talking about one Pacific group of folks, and that was those slaves who were slaves for 246 years. You see how that works? But Actify Press, I think I understood you were not one of those persons who were slaves for 246 years. You were walking around as a free person, a freeman. Am I mistaken? Please send me a message if I'm mistaken.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Can it correct me? Because I kind of thought I heard or understood what came out your mouth. And you're not that Pacific group, are you? You can't be that Pacific group without tethering to Negro slavery, can you? No, you can't. And you know it. That's what's got you all worried. Here's the recording again.
And you had no slave ancestry when you hit the ground here in the Americas. Even though you were subject to horrible things, you can, like Solomon Northup, you'd be snatched up and sent down south in the blink of an eye. I get it, right? But at the same time, many of these people did their best to avoid that slave taint in their blood, right? So they may not be lineage-wise connected to the 1865 freedmen. Therefore, that puts the quote-unquote riffraff, the actual freedmen, people actually descend from freedmen, it puts them in the driver's seat.
Well, we can't have any 1865 freedmen without Negroes, can we? Without Negro slavery, can we? I want you to please explain to us how you get a 1865 freedman who is claiming reparations debt for Negro slavery if you are not that particular person, because y'all are really out here claiming that you're not part of that 4 million persons who were emancipated and freed. You were claiming that you were already freed. But if you were one of those 4 million persons who were emancipated, those 4 million persons were Negroes. That's what the slave masters said out their mouth every day almost. I'm pretty sure they did. If they opened their mouth and they were talking to a Negro, they were saying Negro. They weren't saying freeman out their mouth for 246 years. So help us out. Help us out, Actify. Please help us out. How do you get a freedman if you want one of those 4 million slave persons that was a Negro? How do you get a debt that's owed to you if you want one of those 4 million descendants from those 4 million slave persons? How do you get to claim that debt? You got a lot of explaining to do, How in God's name are you going to make a case to the Supreme Court, to the Congress and the Senate, if you are not claiming to be one of those 4 million who were emancipated and freed from slavery? How do you expect to explain your case? How are you going to do it? I want you to open a room and explain that case like you was in front of a courtroom. Just pretend like you in front of a courtroom and you're explaining your case, but you don't want to be identified as one of those 4 million Negroes. I want you to explain to the people how you came about. How did you come to the earth? Where did you come from? Did you come from some off-island landmass? Where did you come from? What was your origin? What was the origin of the people before you stepped foot on the landmass called America? What was your bloodline origin? What was it? Was it called Nigerian or Asian or European? What was your ethnicity origin before your feet was planted on this landmass called America, that you are saying that you were a free person? You was a freeman. How did you birth into the world as a freeman? Please explain that to all of us. Back to the recording.
That is the Boulets' worst nightmare. That's what they were created to stop from happening. All right? So, again, folks are going to call me conspiracy theorists. People are going to call me, I've been called worse by better people, right? And those are my thoughts. Those are my 4 points. Anybody else want to have anything to say? Cindy?
I didn't even know I hit the button, but I said, oh, well. No, I want to ask you, because I'm real bad with dates. How long did the freedman term or the freedman status last when they were calling themselves freedmen? How many years after were they still calling themselves freedmen? And what year was the freedman bank?
Now listen very carefully to his answer, because this is where he really tells some whopper lies. Listen very carefully to his response to that question, because these are some big whoppers. These whoppers are gigantic. The lady asked how long did it stay in existence? Well, if you go to the United States Senate website, it tells you exactly how long it stayed in existence. You don't have to get the answer from Actified Press. Just shimmy on over to the United States Senate website and read it for yourself. Just read it for yourself. You don't need him to answer it for you. But listen to this whopper of lies coming out this man's mouth.
So, I'm not steeped in this history, but as far as I'm concerned, even if you take, the bullshit that Stephen is trying to push, is that only freedmen were the people that were actually free from slavery in 1865. Even if you believe that, it lasted until the last one died, right? So that's at least 100 years, right? So that's my view of it, right? But I believe the freedman status, just like any other status, like Native American, it follows you. It stays with your line, right? I've seen people have pulled up the native freedmen, their cards, they're still considered freedmen. Why would our status be the only one to disappear? It doesn't make any sense. And I've heard this from the BC folks. I've heard, Hilda and Buffalo have been doing a lot of research on this. I've done a little bit of research of my own. And I don't see any records of this status being taken away or removed, right? Or no longer counting for anybody, right? And there's also, people have pulled records from the state level saying that freedmen is a term for the people who were descended from slaves and their descendants, right? This is the only status in the country that seems to disappear with the people that get it. right? And that's what I think. That's why I think that claim is bullshit. Why would this status appear, right? People who came to this country as immigrants until they become citizens, they're immigrants, right? I don't get it, right? I don't understand it, right? And even if you take that frame of mind, this is something that I've heard Buffalo say before, or was it Hilda? One of y'all wonderful people said that, you know.
Well, let me pause there for a quick, real second. The United States Senate website never mentions the word status for freemen. It was a Freedmen's Bureau Act. It never says one time that it was a status. So when you hear folks saying that out their mouth, you know you're listening to a liar. Okay? It's that plain and simple. If you hear one of these persons saying out their mouth that freeman was a status, you refer them to the United States Senate website and ask them to find the word status on there one time. Just ask them to do that for you, please. If they're going to keep on spewing these half-truths and lies, they need to be able to back it up with some facts. And if it's not on that darn website, then it's not true. You're hearing a person lie to you. The only status or citizenship that is trying to be erased in genocide is Negro. It's all documented. Margaret Sanger, J. Edgar Hoover said the greatest threat to America is the unity of the Negro. J. Edgar Hoover did not stutter when he was asked that question. He did not say the greatest threat to America is the freeman unity. I still have the copy of the image. I posted it on my profile for a couple times for up to 60 or 90 days. I sure did. So anybody can do a search and find it. Just do a search on Google for J. Edgar Hoover, who was asked the question, what is the greatest threat to America? And it's right there the answer that he gave. The unity of the Negro. And a lot of folks know about this lady called Margaret Sanger, that she said, it must never get out that we are trying to genocide the Negro. Margaret Sanger did not say it must never get out that we're trying to genocide the freemen. You see how folks are trying to conflate things? The only ethnicity and citizenship or status that's trying to be erased and genocide is Negro. That's the crime that's being committed. Let us be clear. Let us be absolutely concrete clear. The only citizenship status or ethnicity that's systematically being genocide is Negro. But if you don't identify as the ethnicity of Negro, maybe you will be excluded. Maybe they won't mistake you for a Negro. Who knows? I can't say. I do not have the ability to say that you won't be mistaken for a Negro. I cannot say that to you with a straight face. But I can certainly identify a lie when I hear it. And actify press that was a lie. That was a lie. So let's continue the recording.
If the injury wasn't fixed, the status should stick. That status shouldn't go anywhere until the injury is fixed. And to my mind, that's correct. I don't know if I answered your question, Cindy, but did it help at all?
That was Buffalo. Yeah, I just was asking. I'm gonna look it up for myself because I was thinking. I agree with you, but my thing is that with the freedman status, I think that people don't want it because it will always remind them of what they did. You know, we are called freedmen, and our children and children. Someone is always going to have. It's always going to remind people of what America did, and I don't think people like that. Yes. That's
yeah. I agree. It's something that may not like it, but at the same time, freedmen is the emancipation. That should be a celebratory thing, to my mind, right? Yes, we were once slaves. If your people were slaves and you've been in America forever, people assume you descend from slaves anyway, right? I don't understand.
You know, I've been listening. Excuse me, I've been listening to this all night, and I'm kind of tired. I'm not even going to play all the recording. I'm gonna jump to the section of Naheem. I'm gonna go to my Google Drive and find the part Naheem talks, and I'm gonna go to that part. Let me see if I can find my folder here. Okay. Yes, I'm looking through my my Google Drive to get to the right folder, so I can get ready to go to sleep because I'm very tired. I've been up all night listening to this recording and breaking it down in different parts, and I'm just gonna have to jump ahead because I'm tired. I just have to do that. So I'm gonna play part number 11 on my Google Drive that you will hear Naheem.
You've seen his signature, he's out here. But I heard it out of his mouth that they are taking this show on the road and going to every HBCU from now until the election for 2024, basically pushing this fear tactic. Now, these are my words, that wasn't his, but getting them to quote unquote understand the gravity of the Supreme Court decision regarding affirmative action. So they're trying to scare them in the negative, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Shit, I didn't realize my mic was open. I'm sorry. I hope I wasn't disturbing you. My dogs are snoring in the background. Yeah, I agree. We've got to get out here. I mean, this is the nexus of wealth and politics, right? If we had wealthy people who were pre-selected before they got wealthy, that's because they weren't going to rock the boat. If we had folks with wealth who were saying, who were willing to put money behind this thing, put us on a tour, put us on television commercial, whatever, or
even social media advertising, whatever the fuck it is. We have folks willing to do that. This thing would be totally different. Even if a bunch of us got together and put our pennies together and did a social media campaign, this thing would totally be different. All right? And thank you, Kelly. I agree 100%. That damn Bodie came back to Twitter and lost his...
But I wanted to say something.
Sorry, go ahead, Kelly.
Mike, real quick, I wanted to say something else, too. When Naheem was up here, and I say this respectfully to the room, Naheem does not have to come up here to say that, he doesn't own the rights to freedmen, and it's a shame that he has to do that. But the reason, and I can say just from my own travels, because I really don't like to do spaces like that. And I know you're saying, well, Dan, you're speaking in enough of them. But the thing is, because I don't know how to really
Well, let me pause right there. See, folks are trying to do the whatever that shuffle thing is. They're trying to remove Naheem from the spotlight and shift it to Camilla Moore because Naheem has a shady image, dishonesty track record. So now they're trying to backstep and remove the spotlight off of Naheem because of his. Folks have heard him in spaces on Twitter, so you can judge for yourself. Just, you don't have to take anybody's word for it. Just go back and listen to the recordings of him speaking on any stage in these Twitter spaces and draw your own conclusion. Do your own critical evaluation. But newsflash, folks, y'all put him out there in front of the cart. He was the loudest voice, the spokesperson for the last few months. I was in the space the first time that I got a chance to hear him speak on it, and he was yelling at La Farmer and telling La Farmer, I'm gonna make you Freedman or something. I was in that room myself personally, got to hear it with my own ears. I heard him and Mr. Ali. They were the special guests that night in that room. You know how folks are special guests when they come on make appearances. That's how they worded the room that night. These are the special guests, Naheem and Mr. Ali. They specifically stated it that way. These are the special guests. Well, folks, too bad. You put these folks out there to be the spokespersons, and now you got to live and die with them because you picked them. You picked them or they picked themselves. I don't know which one it was, but now you got to live and die with it because folks are not going to no time soon forget what character display that these two persons put on display. How they spoke in different rooms. They remember. I remember Naheem saying in that room that night, we are trying to make Freedman a political status, a legal status. And then by the time the OMB, now you're trying to be an ethnicity status. Which one do you want to be? You just want to be what's that show that be on used to be on TV called Let's Make a Deal. I think it was Let's Make a Deal. You got 3 doors, one door 2, door 3. Which door do you want, Naheem? Naheem, which door do you want? You want to get one pick. Door 1, door 2, door 3. Because I heard out your mouth myself with my own ears. You was spouting that Freedman was going to be a legal status. We're trying to make it a legal status, a political status. Now you're trying to make it an ethnicity. Now you don't did a whole circle around, and now you want 450,000 folks to be Freedman ethnicity or descendants of Freedman. Now you don't did a full circle, a complete full circle. You cheated. You wanted all 3 doors, didn't you? You wanted all 3 doors. You cheated. But anyway, let me try to get back to the recording so I can get done with this madness.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I'll be personally, I feel fine not even getting into it. It won't be no problem for me here. All right? Naheem, welcome back up. Talk to me. Naheem, go ahead. I just want to say this, man. There are people that know, and there are people that don't know, and there are people who pretend like they don't know. The term freedman is not a proxy for race. I'm going to give this explanation for the like umpteenth time, because it's important moving forward in our understanding.
Negro, for those who claim to have all of this education, Negro is a race and ethnicity for descendants of slaves who have it on a birth certificate, marriage license, death certificate, census reports. It's an ethnicity and a race altogether. It's interchangeable. Sometimes folks like to say that they wanna make it all complicated. When I look at an application or form that I have to fill out, and it says Caucasian, Asians, Native Americans, Native Hawaiians, Black/African American, your common sense, your brain cell tells you that box that you're checking is stating your ethnicity and race all the same. Am I mistaken? Because when I see Caucasian on those forms, that I know they're talking about white people. They're talking about white people who are either European or Irish or Italian, but they only have the word Caucasian there. They only have the word Caucasian on the application, but it's just plain old common sense that word Caucasian is there because it's standing for the person's race and ethnicity all in one. Same thing for Asians and all the other ethnicity groups. We are the only ones that seem to be confused. We are the only ones that are sitting up here spewing this nonsense of the government. The Supreme Court say you can't get any policies passed if it's race based. We're so confused about that, and we confuse ourselves because we fully understand that everything was based on race in America. Slavery from 1619 up to 1865 was based on the skin tone, skin color. We all know this. We all don't done our research. We know plain as day that if you got here from the time that the 1619 up to 1865, your treatment, your day-to-day life treatment was based on your skin color, your race, which was one and the same. The color of your skin, the race, it was one and the same. Everything in America was based on race. Everybody know this. But then you got intelligent people with law degrees and college degrees spewing the same old foolishness out their mouth that nothing can be based on race, when the whole history of the country is based on race. How foolish does that sound? Will somebody please DM me an answer to that? Because my common sense, I'm not the smartest person, but my common sense tells me that plain as day, that the whole country evilness was based on the color of a person's skin, race. The whole evilness, the foundation of the evilness that started in 1619 all the way up to the present day has been based on the color of a person's skin. But then you have intelligent people constantly saying nothing can get passed based on race-based policy. How foolish does that sound? Will somebody please answer that for me? How foolish does that sound? The Pacific group that was harmed, was harmed because of their skin color, because of their race, it was classified as Negroes. was harmed because their skin color was dark brown, dark black, or a dark color. It was based on that on that, and and that does fall under the category or the definition of race and ethnicity, all one and the same. It's interchangeable. It's constantly used interchangeable. But Negro was stated in the Special Field Order 15 that Negroes are free and will be treated as such. So that gave us our citizenship status at that very moment. If Abraham Lincoln and General Sherman had intended for the word freeman to be put in that Special Field Order 15 document, it would have been there. It would have been all through the document. Because nobody said it had to be left out. If free.
Okay, folks, I'm going to have to stop it right there so that it don't run over the hour. I'll pick it up in part 3. So once again, be sure to stay alert and conscious of your surroundings and the people in your surroundings. And whenever possible, try to travel in a buddy system. I want to thank each and every person that will take the time to listen to this podcast recording. And take care and keep safe.